Hello everyone and welcome to the video. I have a YouTube channel called 2ManyCars and I should probably show everyone that I have too many cars. So I'm going to go through a quick little garage tour and show you all the stuff I'm working on and some of the stuff I own and just talk about some of these projects. So let's check them out.
So welcome to the garage, the place of gasoline and sadness and never-ending projects. But I think we have some cool stuff in here, so I'm going to walk through some of the cars I own. The Jeep is not mine, and neither is this 52 truck, but I will talk about those at the end. The RX7, the R33 Skyline, both 3000 GTs, and this 240 are mine. So let's talk probably about the most interesting one and the most completed one, the RX7. So this is a 1993 Mazda RX7. I've owned it for about 9 years now at this point. It took me probably about 7 years to build. Everything on all these cars has been done here, with the exception of I did not assemble the engine myself and I did not tune it. It is wrapped Avery Atomic Teal. We still have the 1.3 liter 2-rotor engine with a BorgWarner S362 turbo, 2000 CT primary injectors, 1000 cc secondary injectors, HKS twin fire. It's on a Pexi Power FC, etc., etc., etc. So she makes about 419 wheel horsepower. At some point, I do want to go back through this engine bay and maybe get a wiring specialties harness and just kind of clean everything up. Also, the shop that did the motor spray painted the engine, which has now all chipped off. So I have to go back and just clean some stuff up in here and tidy it up. I've honestly been enjoying driving the car so much and haven't got any shows or anything, so there hasn't been a need to pop the hood, but she runs good. At some point, you need to clean out the throttle body, I think. Every once in a while, the RPMs hang a little bit. And I think the methanol injection on the back side of the elbow there is, I guess on the front side of the elbow, I think is giving some kind of crystalline, methanol behind, and there seems to be some junk in there. But other than that, this car runs absolutely fantastic. We got some Wed Sport SA70RR wheels on this. They're 18 by 9.5, I believe. The interior I redid entirely myself. I am switching the radio out of here. That's basically the only reason why it's in the garage right now, to clean the throttle body and change the radio, because the radio does have a slow drain that will kill the battery in about 48 hours. So I'm going to replace that with a better head unit. But everything in here, this was a tan interior car, so the roof is still tan. Finding these parts for a reasonable deal is kind of ridiculous, but the rest of the interior is black, and it kind of offsets it a little bit. It works okay with the yellow stitching, so I've left the tan roof in here. This was originally a Bose car, so I just have front speakers in it, so we're going to redo the audio system. I do have the classic broken map pocket door, so that's super fun. But otherwise, yeah, so 419 wheel horsepower. She absolutely boogies. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite cars. Great to drive, completely impractical, absolutely no trunk space or interior space at all. I have a buddy of mine who's a little heftier, and as a bigger dude sitting in the passenger seat, he has to crank the door closed because it pinches his waist between the center console and the door panel. So definitely not a good car for big people, but thankfully I'm only 5'7", and it's perfect. So we'll go over to the one next to it. This is a 1991 Nissan 240SX hatchback. This is my drift car. I actually have two drift cars. The other one's outside. The other one is rusty, and I'm going to be doing a reshell on it. So since that car became basically unusable, I scooped this up, changed the body kit, did a bunch of work to it to make it look good. Put some Conzi Astro wheels on it. I got my drift spares there in the back. This is a fully caged car with an RB25 DET swap. I did purchase the car with the swap, although it was barely running at the time. Had a couple issues. I know I needed a throttle position sensor and a couple other things. But basically stock. It's got a Tomy BX8265 turbo. Sorry, MX8265 turbo. This has the bushing turbo on it. But yeah, it rips. It's basically stock with the exception of the turbo. I did blow the ceramic compressor wheel off at a drift event, which is kind of a common problem with the ceramic wheel turbos. But yeah, so put the turbo on, and honestly just haven't had time to upgrade injectors and ECU to make this faster. Also, most of my friends who drift are in about the same power level, so I really haven't had the desire to make this faster, because it's a lot easier to tandem with friends when everyone has the same horsepower cars. But interior wise, OMP seat, I got a Marco seat on the passenger side, AEM gauges. I don't have a hydro. I actually just used the cable operated e-brake. And in the back, I have the GK Tech e-brake extenders with the Project Mu pads. And it locks up great. I can crank the e-brake at 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, whatever. Just rip it up. Perfect. But yep, full cage. I spent a lot of time trying to get everything in the interior back in. So we have the door panels, we have the dash, although it is cracked. I'm going to put a cover on this at some point. Also, one of the brackets on that side of the dash is broken, so it's kind of sagged a little bit. So that's something not that important to look at. We do have the cage, so I couldn't get any of the interior back up on the top, but I have all of the back panels and the back seats. So tried to make the car somewhat comfortable, even though it is, a drift car. They even have the, the shade in the back here. So as a car to drive on the street, it's fantastic. As a car to go to the track with, also fantastic. But this is my 91 Nissan 240. I'll mention the reason it's here in the garage. At the last drift event, for some reason, the tension rod brace is no longer connected on the bottom of the vehicle. So I have to go through and figure that out, and I think I might need a transmount. But this is just end of season drift maintenance type stuff. Here is my 92 Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. So this car I've owned since 2009. I'm almost done doing the full restoration on it. So I plucked the motor out, stripped the entire engine bay, sanded it, painted the whole engine bay. It's got powder-coated subframes with polyurethane bushings, rebuilt rack, pinion. Everything is as fresh as it can be. The motor was built a while ago. It's probably got 30,000 miles on it. Just got like Weisco pistons, forged crank, and just basic stuff. We got a Rashi 22 turbos, tubular manifolds. It's on stock injectors and stock fuel at the moment because I want to make sure everything that I put back together is completely correct before throwing injectors and an ECU in to have it tuned. So I just want to make sure everything is 100% first. Basically, at this point of the project, everything is together with the exception of some small things. The battery bracket doesn't fit the smaller AGM battery, your Optima battery, whatever. I need some clamps that I didn't have, to match. I tried to do everything like zinc hardware and T-clamps and tried to make everything as nice as possible. I have a new K&N FIPK air filter for it, so just everything that still looks a little dirty, I'm going to swap out. But I have fired up the car. It does work. It doesn't sound great because of the tubular manifolds, the downpipe I have does not line up to the bottom of the rear turbo. So there's like an inch gap, so it's just open dump in the back. So it sounds like it might be maybe misfiring a little bit, but it's extremely hard to tell because it's just loud out one side of the engine. So once I get that fixed, I will button and wrap this up. But yeah, really went ham on this. Everything has been powder coated, painted, cleaned, hardware replaced. The goofy skull thing I painted when I was like 19, so I'll probably take that off. Although it's kind of history. I put on some HKS coilovers. These are from an Evo, so they have the Supercar Engineering Evo conversion kit on them. I do something to lower the car all the way down, make it look nice. Reupholster the seats with a kit from Interior Innovations. Just open the door. So, almost done with this one as well. I do have new AEM center gauges to match the pod gauges, although that requires taking the dashboard out, which is a lot of work. Well, it's not a lot of work, it's just an annoying amount of work. But the interior in this is almost done. The door panels have completely dry rotten and split, so I do have the door panels and stuff going in it, but just about ready to button this up. I also have these badass 6-piston Stillen brakes. I actually have 2 sets of these brakes. So these are like old school 6-pot AP Stillen, or AP Racing, I guess it is now, brakes. So this thing will break your neck when you hit the brake pedal. But yep, she's almost done. I'm gonna go back to the original color, Ascot Silver. They only made like 300 in this color, which seems like ironic because nowadays like silver's everywhere. But yeah, gotta clear all the boxes and stuff off of it. Gonna put this on a trailer, send it over to my buddy to redo the downpipe for me, and then I can hopefully have this basically buttoned up before winter, just so I can put it outside and cover it, and then have it painted in the spring, so I can work on the shell swap for my other drift car this winter. But so that's the VR4. Over here we have a 1993 Nissan Skyline GTST R33 that has been converted to mostly GTR bodywork, or is all GTR bodywork. The spoiler and the front bumper is fiberglass. It's obviously not wide body. But yeah, it's a Skyline. I actually won this in a raffle for $100. So every once in a while, yes, you can definitely get lucky on this. I will probably make a whole video about this and what it's like to win a raffle, and the process that was. It was one of those like Facebook ones. So it wasn't like you buy a T-shirt or anything and you get a car, 1 in a million chance. It was $100 a ticket, 300 tickets, and my name happened to get called, and here it is. So now that you're all jealous, here's the fun part of this. It's very broken. So, is that going to stay up? That might close on me. So I win this car. It shows up. I've had it for about 3 years now. It shows up. Super excited. Put it on the road. I couldn't really drive it yet because at that time it was COVID. So the DMV was like, I don't know, 3-month wait to get the DMV. So I would just like put my 240 plate on and drive it around the block a couple times. So it was cool. It was, dream car of mine is to own a Skyline, as it is for a lot of other people. The only downside is I had this before I owned that RB. And if it had been the other way around, I would have known immediately that the motor ran like shit. For whatever reason, it drove very smooth, but it always kind of sounded like a Subaru. So it's kind of surprising. And long story short, cylinder 1 and 4, if I remember correctly. 1 and 4, 2 and 6. Doesn't matter. 2 of the cylinders, super low in compression. Had a lot of oil blow-by. It was coming out the blow-off valve and hitting the hood, so that's why the hood's all stained. So I took the motor out, which is over there on the floor. Bought another motor, put that in the car with paperwork as a rebuilt engine. And then what happened with that is filling it with coolant. All the coolant was going straight into the oil. So I filled it with oil first, checked the oil, filled it with coolant, checked the coolant, fired it up, went back, checked again, and the coolant was a milkshake because it was mixing with the oil. And because the motor had fired up briefly, really not getting lubrication, at least I believe. Basically, after taking the motor back out of the car, we changed the head gasket. We cleaned everything out because it had an RB26 head gasket and an RB25. So one of the coolant and oil passageways meet on that head gasket that wouldn't normally meet on this motor. Whew. So, motor back out, head gasket. I put ARP head studs and some other stuff on it. Put it back in. I got 3,000 miles out of it, and then it wiped out the cams. So all of the cams and the lifters are completely So here is the camshafts. They're all completely worn. And all of the lifters are domed. So, luckily, I believe all the oil filter has collected all of the, bits, because there doesn't seem to be any floating around the head or anything else. So I am split between taking the motor out and sending it completely out, or just throwing some cams in this. But this has been down for a little while now, just because it's kind of been very disheartening that I've owned this now for 3 years. Again, I'm super thankful I got it for $100. I wouldn't trade that for the world, but it's quite frustrating that it has been probably one of the least reliable cars I've ever owned. The interior's in good shape though. Dash, wheel, everything's cool. It's got these weird, they're drift seats. They're from Australia, which makes sense because the car was imported from Australia. Also, I forget the brand, but the blow-off valve is an Australian company. But yeah, so now that my VR4, I'm almost done with that project. This one is going to be next. So hopefully by spring, I'll have this car painted. This car will be back on the road, and I'll have reshelled my other car. Then the last one here for me, which is probably the least interesting, but I think my favorite car. This is my 1993 Dodge Stealth ES. This was my first car I drove in high school, and I still have it. It did have some rust issues, so I had the rust repaired. So the bottom side of the car is like perfect and clean now. And although the paint now is terrible, and I've changed the fenders, and I'm working on this here and there, my next step with this is to yoink the motor and basically do this project again just over here. The only good thing is this is a naturally aspirated front-wheel drive car, so I can pull the motor out of this in like an hour and a half. It's extremely easy to work on the non-turbo cars. Obviously, it sucks, the front-wheel drive, but a lot of nostalgia for me. This car runs great. I love it. It's super fun to drive. It's on Silver's coilovers. It's got Volk GTC wheels. I spent a lot of years trying to find the correct Volk wheel setup on this. I went to second-gen VR4 brakes. So it's got a lot of stuff. It's got a limited slip differential, long tube headers. Everything that can be deleted has been deleted, so it's very, very simple in here. Very, very easy to work on. So this will be definitely I'm hoping a quick project. I have a powder-coated front subframe for this, so I'm going to pop the motor out, pop the subframe out, paint the engine bay, put that all back together, which sounds like a ton of work, but it'll honestly probably take me like a month, maybe 2 months at most. Again, because these are super easy to work on. I've already done the rear subframe back here, so you can kind of see the orange back under there. So the whole subframe has been powder-coated orange in the back as well. I guess going for like Mets theme. I don't know. I just decided to try to do something funky for the subframes on this. But yes, so winter projects. This the 240, and getting the Skyline to go. So that'll have me good for the winter. Obviously, just some maintenance and stuff to do on the other cars. So I'll make some videos of that. And then to talk about the other things in the room here, my friend Joe has this 1952 Chevy pickup. He has a 261 engine in here, I want to say. I really don't know that much about these things. They're carbureted and simple, and I can get them to run with your eyes closed. But yeah, I think it's a 261 motor. This was basically his grandfather's truck. The body work and everything else, mostly from his grandfather. The chassis, he purchased a replacement chassis. We do have all of the whole front end of the 50 Chevy here, and the cab, which are both in pretty decent shape. They do need cab corners down there, but overall pretty good. And the front end is actually, it's rusty, but it's not rotten. So not a whole lot to talk about yet because it's still very apart, but the frame is painted and we're finally making some progress on this. And then the last thing here, which is also kind of interesting, this is a Jeep Cherokee, 2-wheel drive. It has been lowered. This is not mine. This is my friend Dylan's, as well as his RC Cardinals, other stuff. This is a 2-wheel drive Jeep Cherokee. It has been lowered on, and I might have this backwards, Corvette springs and Camaro shocks, or that might be vice versa. The front has been cambered because he took the front axle, and these is basically a tube So we notched the center of the tube and bent it up so it has a permanent 3 degrees camber. And this is going to be a drift Jeep. I've actually driven this truck, SUV. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. It's amazing how well this thing handles. It's a straight axle, was a truck. It's fantastic. But it has been apart for a while just because he's doing dumb things to it. And there is a turbo down there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a turbo down under there. You can kind of see the back part of this blue boy. But yeah, so this is going to be a turbo Jeep Cherokee. He's using an MSD ECU, and he's wiring everything from scratch. So he made his own coil pack bracket, and everything has been one by one wired. Obviously, there's still a lot to go on this, so hopefully we'll see Dylan more this winter, and maybe this project will be done. But I really am looking forward to seeing this thing on the track. But that's about it. That's pretty much all of the things we're working on right now, or that I'm working on. And if you guys have any interest in any of my cars more than another, I'd be happy to make more videos on that. But Friday I'm going to be working on this one. I'm going to get that tension rod bracket fixed up. I got my radio on order. And this one's going to come out soon, so I can go get that downpipe fixed.
So that is a view of my garage out in my 3000 GT Garnis collection. That's an overview of my garage and all the stuff we're working on. I am looking forward to maybe making some more videos in the near future, kind of going through some of the projects and stuff I'm working on with these things, maybe some how-to videos. I have had some success on my other channel. I do RC car content, so RC Fix It 9050. If you want to find me on my other channel. So since that has been kind of working out, next step is to do car content. So if you want to click that subscribe button, that would be cool. If you want to put comments down below and tell me what you love and hate about car YouTubers, so I can make sure I don't do the things that you guys hate, and maybe I can try to do something maybe a little different. But regardless, we'll see how it goes. Again, this is my garage overview. This is where we're going to be working, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. So thanks for watching, and I don't know. I have a car addiction. Too many cars, right? I have too many cars.